Thanks again for coming to the Bronx EdTech Showcase from 2025. I'm so happy to welcome our student panel. I'm so glad that we can have everybody's voices in this conference, that we have staff, students, administration, because we're all in it together, right? AI is new for everyone. So I'd like to welcome 4 students. We have Francis Colon from Lehman, Karla, Dainma Martinez from Hostos, Karla Alvarez from BCC, and Nicolas Fernandez. Sorry, and Nicolas Fernandez, who is a BCC graduate and is now at Baruch. And our facilitator is Nelson Nunez Rodriguez. He's a professor in the Natural Sciences Department at Hostos. So,
thank you, Kay, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here Friday afternoon after lunch. So it's my pleasure to have these students. We need to hear to learn from them. And I want to appreciate the organizing committee idea to have the student voices in the room, and then the administration voices will be better later. So let's see how this goes. So I have some questions for them. I was discussing my question with ChatGPT, full disclosure. So I want to be sure that, I want to have questions that provoke ideas, but as Kay said, nobody knows the answers, and everyone is on the same boat. Hopefully we come to a good place. So let's start talking again, saying your name, your campus, and are you currently using artificial intelligence, and for how long? I'll take this one.
Hello, testing. Okay, great. I'm glad you can hear me in the back. Hi, my name is Nicolas Fernandez. I am a Bronx Community College alum. And I currently study financial mathematics at Baruch College. The question was,
For how long have you been using artificial intelligence? For how long have you been using artificial intelligence?
I've been using it approximately, I'd say about a year. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Karla Alvarez. I go to Bronx Community College, and my major is cybersecurity and networking. Thank you. So I was first introduced to artificial intelligence a couple years back as an IT analyst apprentice. And back then I started as a software engineer, very elementary to code. I didn't know a lot of coding, and I took on a job to make apps using artificial intelligence. And since then I've been using it just to help me with my ideas, generate innovative ideas, either to compartmentalize an idea or to try to sum up my ideas together. So that's how I've been using it thus far.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dainma Martinez. Thank you. My name is Dainma Martinez. I am a Hostos student. My major is forensic science, going into biological science. I've been using AI for more than since I feel like we got introduced to college. I think it's been about a year and a half now, currently using AI. I use it more as a guideline, knowing that because I am also dyslexic, as well as having other disabilities, that AI has made it more of an advantage for me to finally understand how I can learn, not just from a professor's point of view or from an academia point of view, but from a personal point of view. So yes, thank you.
Hello. Okay. I'm Francis Colon. I am a Lehman College student. I There. I'm majoring in media communications and a minor in film studies. And I've been using AI for 2 years. And similar to you, I am dyslexic, and AI helps me check my own work and make sure that my arguments are clear and not repetitive. And I found it very helpful in my academics.
Nicolas, you want to say how are you using artificial intelligence? Because
Yes, I noticed everyone else definitely added that part, and I completely forgot to add that part. Ah, so I've been coding myself for, I want to say, a few years. During COVID, that's what I got into. And the way I currently use artificial intelligence, it's to help me find my own voice. I use it to refine ideas, as I've already heard a few panelists mention, but I also try to use it to differentiate between, uh, to refine between what I want my idea to be and how I can optimize my idea to make it a little.
let's talk about curriculum. Do you think that the curriculum, the assignments are helping you to navigate artificial intelligence, preparing you for that challenge? Do you think that what's going on in the classroom is helping you?
I would like to start with that. So, I feel that learning, especially in a classroom environment, is more of a progressive kind of learning. Where we are taught, we're taught one way of learning. I know many professors, teachers, they have their way of teaching students, but it's difficult knowing when you probably have at least 15 or more than students in a classroom. Knowing that at least with the AI intelligence, that you're able to put in a better organizations for a professor. You're able to now know, get an easier workload off of you, where you're able to have AI do your organizations. You're able to now implement different ways for your students to learn and have more of a visuality to show to those students. I feel that incorporating the AI into, as well as in the learning aspect of not just teaching students how to use AI, but what are you doing with AI and how you're programming it from a professional point of view, but also a personal point of view for students. So yes.
So you are complementing what the curriculum is not giving you.
I am more of advocating for what I know as a student that the academics should add in, where I feel that academics, especially professors, faculty, administrations, should have more of a close eye for students and not just thinking that AI is something that's going to be used as cheating or as in something that's a go-to tool, but as a extra aspects or a school tool.
I can speak on that a little bit as well. I don't think education has caught up with AI advancement yet. And I say that because that's a very polarizing concept. You know, there's some educators that are for it, and of course, there are some educators that are probably not so fond of it. And so I would say I think it is complex, but it is achievable to achieve a curriculum that uses AI as a tool and something to build on curriculum and not to take away from it and from the students actually learning the objectives and the missions that are presented in the curriculum. So I think it's just a matter of, you know, learning, getting, we'll get more into the questions, but I think it's mostly about learning a bit more about AI, and we'll definitely get into that.
So we as a faculty are also learning. And perhaps you are passing a question for the next panel. What are the resources for professional development, the money that they are allocating for helping faculty to learn, to design a curriculum that really get there, as you said. So you are advocating for, I am with you. I need that professional development because I am a faculty trying to learn.
Well, yeah, I personally believe that the same way that we are learning artificial intelligence is learning about us. And so it's a double-edged sword. You know, we're learning, we're getting to know more of a new advancement in technology and how to implement that, like the many other things that we we've been using in our curriculum, such as Microsoft, Adobe, other softwares that have been super powerful in helping us teach students.
I would like to add that I also agree that AI should be taught in school, especially as how to use it as a tool to help excel what we are already working on, and be as useful as spell check. You know, like it's everywhere. You need it for your careers now. I've seen it on job sites asking if you can use certain type of AI programs. And compared from last year to this year, my professors have told us we can use AI, but reference it, tell us where you used it, how you used it, why you used it on your project. And it a- it helped me dive into using AI in my curriculum a lot more than I did the first year that I got into getting to know AI. And it also made me learn that there's nothing to be afraid of as a creator with AI. It's not going to replace the creativity of a human being. So that is what I took away from my professors this semester, allowing us to use AI and share it compared to having to hide in the shadows and tell no one that you were using it.
So evidence indicates that students are using with or without professor guidance. So as you said, that transparent conversation create a clear room for both you as a faculty.
Yeah, and I feel with guidance, we'll excel further than we could possibly imagine, especially with the help of our professors.
Yesterday
We're
in my
all on
class,
board.
I'm sorry, yesterday we were talking about artificial intelligence and environmental science. And when I mentioned artificial intelligence, they said, oh no, we don't use it. But when I said I am using all the time, they say, oh, we are using too. So, and then I saw it looks like a different classroom. So when I said how I use, I control, I evaluate, I say, oh, we do. So it was a, that's it. It's there. I am using all the times. Okay. So Nicolas, you want to elaborate on this?
Yes, I have had the pleasure of being a part of classrooms where AI was not so, it wasn't accepted, and classrooms that AI was encouraged for us to use. And the classroom that allowed us to incorporate AI felt felt not just a little bit different. It was leaps and bounds away from the classroom that we were not allowed to use it. And the reason why I think that it was leaps and bounds away from where currently are in other classrooms where they aren't so comfortable having us use this software is just because it opened up the room to have these conversations about these topics that we wouldn't normally have on a regular day. It definitely seemed like all of my classmates were way more engaged, and we were competing against each other to like raise our hands and share our opinion and how we ended up using it and why we felt like, hey, because of this question, I arrived at this conclusion. And hey, I actually ended up asking a similar question at this place, which made it that much more different. But at the same exact time, the experience was wholesome. It drawed each and every one of us further into the subject, as opposed to pulling away. And that would, I would say, that's like the biggest difference. Classroom that is more open to using it as opposed to one that's
Good. So if we understand and assume that everyone will be using artificial intelligence, we have an opportunity to raise the standards. So to make more complicated assignments for you, because we assume, so let's say now the baseline, you are using artificial intelligence. Again, in my class on Monday, one student did a so poor presentation. And I was thinking, she didn't use our list ChatGPT. It was so bad. So she talking about equity, she still doesn't know that she can access to ChatGPT. So perhaps the opportunity is more complicated assignments because we assume that we are going to be using that. So let's talk about faculty. At the moment that we are so waiting. So what do you think faculty can learn from you in terms of, artificial intelligence? So in this two-way street, what is the learning opportunities that we can,
I think that faculty can learn that AI makes education, number one, equitable, it makes it adaptable, and it makes it accessible for students. I think as education has advanced and morphed over time, we've all learned, one standard way. And as the years has gone by, education has become more and more advanced. Now we're catering to, different students with different needs in education. And I think AI is just an enhancement in that. And so I look forward to, you know, seeing more curriculum, not to make it more complicated for students,
wow.
but to engage our critical thinking and our problem solving skills. And I think it's just going to challenge students in a way that makes us discover what is our inner voice and how to most importantly find myself and find my voice in my professional field in a way that matters to me and in a way that is more robust and flexible. I hope that answered.
That critical.
Thank
So
you.
we can create assignment where we evaluate your critical thinking moment, evaluating.
Absolutely. Challenge my responses.
So remember that I was talking to you when I said to the ChatGPT, you made a mistake, and she answered, good catch. So, so how we can document as instructor your interaction with artificial intelligence in a way that we challenge you to evaluate and to ask different and deeper questions to ChatGPT.
I think when it comes to the responses that are received in the classroom, I think, again, challenge the students' responses. Why do you think this way? What is your thought pattern in this matter? And how do you implement this skill that we're talking about in the classroom into the real world?
So if we request as part of the assignment, submit the whole PDF with the whole interaction with the ChatGPT, how you change the question, how you reframe the question, how you evaluate. So what is the thinking process behind that? So we are evaluating process rather than the ultimate product.
Also encourage discussion amongst students so they can hear each other as well.
Okay, good.
But
I would love to add onto that as well. When I have discussions with ChatGPT, where it starts is not exactly where I thought it would end, and usually what I end up writing is not where me and ChatGPT stop talking. So it does evolve and helps break down your thought process, your voice, your tone, what you inside want to put into words so everyone can understand you. If you use it like that kind of tool to help learn about yourself and dig deeper into the critical thinking of the assignment, then it's an amazing tool. But if you just type in the question the professor gave you, copy, paste it, submit it, that I feel like that is what a lot of people are doing instead of actually sitting there with it and breaking down their own thought process. I call my ChatGPT my think tank. It's my writer's room. It's where I bounce my ideas back and forth, and it's not just copy and paste onto the paper. So
that's actually pretty good. I like the think tank one. What I was going to say was the classroom that encourages us to use ChatGPT, what is asked of us is to write out exactly where ChatGPT came in to help us out. So it doesn't take away from our original thought process or our voice, so that our voice and our work stays true to who we are. And I believe as long as we're all continuing to use it as a think tank, more on elaborating the idea instead of just, hey, find an answer for this, I think that's when it starts to take away from what the possibilities can be, and it just starts becoming something completely different.
I think that we as a professor still don't know how to create an assignment that capture all this process. Because what we receive is those papers with ChatGPT 4.0. I said to a student, erase that at least, some dignity. So I will not accuse you of anything, but at least erase the ChatGPT 4, or this answer is better, remove that. So, but still, the professional development needs to bring us to that moment that we have the capacity to capture that in the assignment. Let's keep talking about faculty perception on how are you using ChatGPT or artificial intelligence. What do you think about what faculty think about your artificial intelligence use? You have any sense of that perception?
I would say that usually a majority of the time, if it's a faculty member that is not familiarized with AI or loves technology, because there are many professors who despise technology and despise the transitions like from Blackboard to Brightspace. We don't like it. So now is to take that aspect of thinking that every student is using ChatGPT or some AI as a form of cheating, as a form of this isn't you. It's about now changing that aspect of, I wanted to go back a bit, where it's about understanding if the student is not just learning the subject, but comprehending. Because it's not about learning. You can have the memory of everything, but did you understand what you just read? I feel that ChatGPT gives that advantage of at least giving the description for a student to comprehend what they're doing, comprehend what they're learning. For faculty, back to them again, it's about having that open-mindedness of, if this seems a little maybe I should talk to the student, or maybe I should have some office hours, see if the student would like to evaluate what they just submitted so they could comprehend what they just submitted. Because I know you put a whole, I had a classmate submit a whole essay for a Black history class. Mind you, she didn't even understand a word that was in it. So that is an issue, the student is making the effort to turn in the assignment. They want the grade. You should be happy that a student wants to do the classwork. They want to be in the class. They want to participate. Now it's about, hey, I'm not going to be mad at you that you did this, but now we have to learn, what did we do? And then it goes again about having faculty being able to learn. Again, a lot of us do not like technology, the new technology, but sadly we have to learn and be up to the date with everybody else, because then you fall behind. Then you have students coming up to you saying, hey, I don't like you. I don't like you because you're mean and you didn't give me my grade. You don't understand me. You don't know what's going on. But it's because they don't understand. And this also comes into maybe not just faculty, but advisors, where faculty members, professors, everybody should be able to have that connection with the advisor of the student so they can create a plan. Because yes, we all are adults, but some of us are adults learning. So we look up to the guidance of the professors, of faculties, of anybody that is an adultier adult than who we are.
I think when I think about it and how faculty can perceive AI, is that there is a huge over-reliance on artificial intelligence for everything. And that's wrong. And I would say that because I think, again, AI is a tool. AI is not perfect. AI is learning about us, and we are learning about this new technology on how to make education and things not simple, but efficient and robust. And so I think if over-reliance is a concern, I would hope that in every classroom, whether phones and technology and laptops are involved or not, that the curriculum that is being implemented for the students is fueled by passion, number one, and number two, a genuine, endless curiosity about what is being learned in the classroom and how we can implement that into the real world. Because of course that is our responsibility, or I'm not an educator, but that's that's the responsibility of educators, to make sure that whatever is being learned in the classroom, that the students can go into the real world after their degree and after graduation and be like, oh, I remember this and I know how to implement this into the work.
Good. So, oh, Nicolas, you want to?
Yes. I actually had a professor compare AIs to Wikipedia being introduced, to Google being introduced, and how this is just the latest learning curve that we need to learn how to work around. And what what made me appreciate more the comment, which is why I remembered it, is the fact that the professor welcomed, hey, if you aren't really aware of how to use it, come on over and we'll talk about it. I'll tell you how to use it within my classroom, how to implement it into the work that you're trying to get done. Yes, this is new to you and even newer to me because the professor is definitely a bit more seasoned than the student, but it is something that we're all learning and grasping. And I feel like the more we get behind one another, the easier the conversation becomes, as well as the easier use of the software becomes.
Right. So, if for next semester, in addition to copy my classes from the spring to the fall in Bright Space, I try to make new assignments, infusing with passion and curiosity. I assume that all the students have access to artificial intelligence tools because that, brings a conversation about, inclusion. Not all students know about artificial intelligence. Not all students are using free or paid artificial intelligence tools. And even a student using artificial intelligence, perhaps the next level of access will be how do we teach them to use it correctly? So there are several layers when I change my assignment next semester. So talking about faculty, because we need to talk. So how do you think that we can collaborate and co-create pedagogy together? How do you think, where do you see opportunity to create assignment together or to have a common ground regarding this conversation and capture the critical thinking process that is happening when you are using artificial intelligence tools?
I will say to implement AI into the classroom, and I'm speaking as a cybersecurity major. I think one of the first things that we need to educate students on is looking through the policies, the data policies, and the privacy policies when engaging with AI to make sure that, of course, students are safeguarding their data while navigating this tool. I think another one is also looking into the data opacity that ChatGPT provides, because although it can give fast answers, it doesn't always make them reliable answers. So to question that, continue to, exactly to engage their critical thinking. Don't just take an answer, but take that answer and look deeper, look between the lines. This is where your learning comes in. And this is how you practice your problem solving so that you can actually grasp and retain the information that is being given to you.
More ideas for faculty. We are lost. Oh, let's be honest. We are learning. We need to know, what is going to happen in the fall. Or I copy my assignment from the spring to the. I did already. My assignments are copied in the fall, but I know that are not working. So because the same assignment, students are using artificial intelligence in the wrong way. So we need to know what is the best way in 3 months, to open that bright space and to have their opportunities to capture that critical thinking. We are learning, so we need to be partners here.
Well, I only know from the experience I got this semester with the teachers being open about using AI and having us engage in those conversations. Like, okay, where did you use AI? And for one of my projects, I used it for a sound piece and a picture because I didn't have enough time to make the music. So I asked the AI to help me. And then with the picture, I can't draw. So I asked the teacher, can I use AI? And she was like, yes, but write out what was the image that you wanted. If you could have drawn, what would it have been? And what is the emotion that you're trying to convey with that image? and being able to share that with her and working with the AI in that way as a fill in the gap for the time, because especially in media and film, there's a time crunch. So you have to be able to bring your pitch as close as possible within a limited time space, and a lot of people use AI to do that. So being able to use it in that professional atmosphere felt great, and I felt like, oh, okay, if when I leave here I can do this, you know but then I don't know where else to go after that, because there is no curriculum on how to continue to use AI in those circumstances. I just lucked out to have two teachers this semester that were all about, hey, did you use AI? How, why, where? And I feel like more of that is definitely something that we need, because when you leave here, people who could get there faster than you are the ones who are going to get the job, and to do that now you need to use AI.
So let's talk about ethical use of artificial intelligence. You mentioned somehow about policies, but we have to design, the institution has to design policies for an evolving tools. So what do you think about the ethical use of artificial intelligence, where there are limits between use, misuse, academic integrity? I don't want to use the term that you use because that's an accusation. When you use the word, you need to have proof. So I don't use that term. Misuse, incorrect use, academic integrity, artificial intelligence integrity. Where do you think the conversation should start between faculty, policymakers, administrators, students regarding the limits or the way that we control the use of artificial intelligence in the classroom?
All right. I think it starts with number one, analyzing and doing our research on artificial intelligence a bit more so that we don't build just a perception, but we can make educated conversations and educated decisions on how to implement it in the classroom. Um, and again, I think we should talk to students about data policies. What does that look like? If you decide to engage with this, and when you do engage, privacy policies, and to make sure that you're doing that in all the websites and subscriptions that you have, of course. Cybersecurity major, but also looking into AI bias, surveillance, things of those natures, having real conversations on how to implement AI in a way that is safe, in a way that is robust, and also having a conversation about intellectual property. What is the definition of intellectual property? What does it mean to steal intellectual property, and how to ensure that we are safe and we are um, adding ideas into the classroom that highlights the voices of each and every student, that they don't sound like a computer, but they sound like themselves. Yeah,
Also redefining what is authentic work.
most definitely.
So instead of, you need to, this represent my thoughts, my idea, my interaction. So any other comment about what is an authentic assignment today? So when the when the professor perceives that this assignment, so and you say, no, I did that. I was helped. Where is the limit for that full disclosure that I was helped by artificial intelligence, but my ideas were there. Was my thinking process who actually created the ultimate piece. So if you have a thought about what is an authentic work in college today, how is the present, the future?
I had a response to this, like an immediate one, but a lovely colleague right here definitely mentioned like 80% of it. But I would say that hmm, since this is uncharted waters to a certain extent, we've made it through the change of Blackboard to Brightspace. We've made it through the change of
Pandemic.
oh, we've made it through the change of the pandemic, where the conversation used to be, can people learn online, to, oh, the whole world is now online, whether it's at work or at school. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they also did like first grade and kindergarten work at online as well. all hurdles that once seemed impossible. I think that in today's age, we currently have the tools to make these difficult things seem not so impossible. And putting funding behind figuring out what some of those questions, how some of those responses look, would be the best would be the best way to spend our time and money. Uh, a lot of large corporations currently have implemented their own version of ChatGPT or their own version of certain AIs. I'm not sure if that is a viable option for us, but I do know that through our contracts that we have with Microsoft, since we are allowed to use certain Microsoft services. I believe Claude is one of the Microsoft services. Copilot. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Copilot is something that should and could become our useful go-to tool when it comes to using AI. Since we already have since CUNY already has a sort of relationship with Microsoft, that seems like the most sensible segue. I don't know where the conversation ends, but I do know that the conversation has already started. And with a little bit of backing, I think we can enter this brave new world together and hand in hand instead of standing beside each other, just looking and peeking and see who's going to go first.
So you mentioned funding behind. You said that we need funding to develop these new ideas. So your major is business. No? You are at Baruch College. Good. So before we open the room for some question, I want you, if you have an idea about the future in your field, how do you conceive what is going to happen in your major, in your field, cybersecurity, finance, forensic sciences, arts? How do you see the future of your job market and artificial intelligence?
So I love this question as well because of from my research that I've also done having AI and VR integrated into science classrooms. Being a forensic science major, I am lacking a lot of experience that I should have. I am going into the route of funeral home. Shocking. A lot of people look at me weird. But I am missing out on the interaction of cadavers, going into seeing anatomy, any kind of thing that's hands-on, because college here in the city doesn't really offer that if you're not a nursing major, really, or if you're not in med school. So VR and AI integration helps that. That helps us be able to have that hands-on experience and to say, I have some kind of experience, even if it's virtual. At the end of the day, as well as having this be funding, as you said, having this be into a pilot program where we can make our own committee of students and faculty be mixed in, where they can be able to learn about what is ethical and what isn't ethical. Because at the end of the day, there are many other colleges outside of this country that have already implemented AI. You go to Puerto Rico, they are huge with AI. They're huge with VR. They're already on Wi-Fi 7, yet we're still here on 6. So that's the idea of seeing what we can put in for the future, what it can be added for certain majors, knowing that even in media, security, and just business in general, AI, VR, all of that can be helpful, can be a guide, because we are also not given the resources that we need. In the city, we lack a lot of resources that students are needing, that are dedicated to our students because of funding, because of as well as the idea of America holding back a lot of us, because this is what it goes into, and especially now in this day and age where a lot of our resources are being taken away. Having AI gives us a future, and this is what they want to look at is the future, and technology is the future. Another aspect of it is that having where colleges should speak, and not just the presidents to have this implemented, where they should speak to other schools. Georgia Tech has had so many great positive statistics. Over half of the campuses at Georgia Tech use AI. The professors implement AI into their syllabus already. So the the students can be prepared. I know, again, professors don't want to learn sometimes doing, oh, there's another workshop. Oh, there's a new thing we have to learn. But again, it's good to keep up with the date. It's good to know something rather than nothing. So that's how I see it. So yes.
We are human, professors are human, and change, brings fears, anxiety for us as well. Yes, it's difficult to change. Remember that we had to change from blackboard to bright space. We are still, ruminating.
But we have to change too for sugars sometimes. So we could do that, you can do that too. And we have to change our time schedules just as much as a professor does. We seem sometimes to forget what a student life is. It's the same as a professor's life because a professor was also a student. We have to remember that students are going through things, but they're going through things that you didn't go through for because it's new things happening. So from a professor's point of view is to be open, is to be always that guidance because we do appreciate you. We do at the end of the day remember and hear our voices of our professors because I have about every single professor from my campus I hold so dearly in my heart. I know I remember them. I know every single one of them by name. I have their numbers. I have everything because I want to keep the communication between professor and a student. And especially now where I know professors are learning from us. I had a professor call me a professor because she's like, I taught you, but you're teaching me so much. And AI is something that we are teaching professors. So yeah.
Good. So I have to change my assignments and I need professional development. I got the two ideas. So do we have time for question from the audience?
Oh, I wanted, no, if we're crunched for time. Oh, okay. So, what was the question again?
How do you
It was
the future?
the future, right, of AI in my, okay. So for me, I get a little bit of anxiety because in social media, AI is everywhere. AI is flooded everywhere. And there's so many apps and teaching websites that say, hey, come learn this AI. You'll be able to make this and do this, and you'll get people wanting you to market for them. You could get it done faster. You could get a cooler font. You could find your style all through their AI. And then you pay for it and it doesn't work. Or you try talking into the storytelling AI and you don't know how to write the proper prompt to get your film trailer made because you weren't taught that. So then you go on the search to teach yourself, and it's pitfall after pitfall after pitfall because nobody wants to share how to use the AI because then now you took their job and you're no longer buying their program or their app. And unfortunately, in my degree, there is nothing that is teaching you how to use AI in social media to help you get the product done faster. Or if you can't get a digital artist to help you, all you got to do is do this and you got it, and there's your sample, and there you go. So I start to panic when I think of graduation because I don't feel complete. I feel like a missing puzzle pieces still, even though I'm in school. And I feel like a big part of that is the AI, because I personally see it everywhere in media, in marketing. And I'm still out there struggling to figure it out by myself and not really getting any help or guidance in school until this semester. I got a little bit more of that. So I feel like, yay, but it needs to be more implemented.
That's the fear of any graduates. You go out there and the world will keep changing. The college prepare you somehow, but that's life. You keep learning.
And I was definitely going to add to that. Even as a cybersecurity major, I do feel a bit of tension in the air when it comes to artificial intelligence and those types of conversations, especially when driven in the classroom. But what I will say, as was said, we continue learning. And instead of having the mindset of a student on a campus, having the mindset of a scholar, I will always be learning in this life. And the thing about technology is that it will always continue to advance. So as long as it advances, that means I need to continue being a scholar and to continue to learn. And especially in my field, knowing the threats of technology, but also knowing how to use technology to combat the threats of technology as well.
A constant.
I also wanted to add to that. I think that all industries will inevitably change at some point. I think we're headed to the future of more efficient assistants. That is in our most immediate future in the next 3 to 5 years. Administrations across all industries will become that much more productive, that much more better. That is the short term that I see. In the long term, I think even industries like the one that I'm trying to get into will experience a certain shift. I don't think that AI will completely, AI or the tools that are associated with it will do away with humans. I think we both need each other to continue to grow. It isn't the the AI did not come before the human. The human came before the AI. And for us to keep on growing and evolving, it's just balancing how we help each other out, sort of like the relationships between a student and a teacher.
Good. I like that liberal art reflection from a person from business. Good. So, so as you said, remember when the pandemic, we had 7 days to bring everything online, and we did. So we will learn. So, do you have time for question? One comment from the audience. Any comments?
I'm a technology trainer for CIS, so Professor Rodriguez, I've been helping professors move from Blackboard to Brightspace. Students up there, in one or two sentences, I'm giving you the advanced prep here, what would be the ideal acceptable use policy that you would love to see in the syllabus for a professor for their course? Anyone can answer that.
You can use AI. Because if you look at every single syllabus, it says, do not use AI. I know when you're using it. Truth be told, you don't know half of the time when we're using AI. I can write literally a whole story off of my chat GPT, and I can say something right now, and you will not know the difference because we have programmed our chat GPTs to sound like us. So at the end of the day, do not put, you can't use AI, I would take out points. No, say you use AI, explain that you're using it. Let us know that you're using it. So it's the same like on Instagram now and everything. It says it on top, made with AI. So you could know, hey, this isn't not your work. You didn't do this. So yes, I say don't put that in the syllabus.
Yeah, say you can use AI, but be ready to explain why. So you know that they're critically thinking and using it as a tool and not using it as a quick fix answer, and they're not even bothering to learn the material.
I hope that answers.
So this is where we are now. We don't know how to create an assignment to cover that. That's why oh, so sorry. No one. Yes.
Now seeing it be and it makes me wonder how can someone like even me as a teenager wasn't really fancy abilities right to catch up with and also how can how do you envision faculty or the prompt writing? I would call it prompt engineering, rather prompt writing, talk to the AI. Right, I know that students have responsibilities for learning now that is there are additional responsibilities? So here are some prompt writing techniques.
I like the question. I like that question, and I think that if that were to be something that would if that were something to go into the syllabus, it would be that much more helpful in guiding how students use AI. I do believe that it should be a tool to get to know yourself and how you see things, as opposed to a tool that's a cure-all for everything. So implementing a few lines as to this is the prompt I need to work on. This is the type of writing that I'm used to doing. How do what are some key things that I can work on to help me uh, sound a bit more confident, display empathy, display certain things that you're trying to get out of your writing that you aren't necessarily easily able to do. Okay. So as I believe that having little prompts like that would definitely guide the conversation and make it that much more wholesome and make you want to have actual discussions and not close yourself off when you have absolutely no idea what's going on in the class or in that day or the subject.
So, but including that in the syllabus assumes that the faculty knows what is prompt engineering. Because if I put in my syllabus, I will be helping you with something that I don't know. When the student are asking for help, I need to know what is that in my discipline. So that's why I think that the faculty community, we are in different, layers. Some people are against, some people are talking about the epistemology of artificial intelligence. Some people are talking what is knowledge today. So as I write in my syllabus, I will be helping you with prompt engineering chemistry. I need to know what is that. And for any discipline, the same applies. How do we prepare faculty on that? If that's the way to create that assignment mechanics and helping the student in that regard.
And I think, well, at least I can speak for BCC. We have a first year program where we get, freshmen acquainted with the campus, get them ready for the year. And so we have discussions, and I believe there's actual discussions for incoming students about, intellectual property, academic integrity, and all those things. I think we can also implement a conversation about when to use and how to appropriately use AI in the classroom as an incoming freshman, not to be over reliant on this tool, but to generate your problem thinking skills, your problem solving skills. And so when to, break down an idea or to put your ideas together, just see it as a brainstorming tool that you can use to navigate your career and forward.
Like 20 years ago, the library was doing information literacy workshops. Perhaps prompt engineering may be a skill for first year students.
Yeah.
So the library.
Yeah.
We have to close or we have more time? Hmm?
I
No, I was there.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. I just wanted to say that I was really encouraged. I got excited when you all were talking about how when you talk in class about using AI, it engages the students. Like that to me is one of my big takeaways is that we do want to obviously engage the students. And then this is just a kind of a check. So if the students who aren't interested in AI are in your class, like how, I mean, is it true that there are some students who are still reluctant? Because I feel like there may be. And then how does that turn around in the class?
So that goes with the question of why am I taking this class if I don't like it? am not going to use it in the future. What am I going to do with it? Just because it's a core requirement. There are many students that have that in classes. I feel that it goes about with encouraging students of, hey, if you're not gonna use this in life, okay. But this is college, it's good for you to learn it. It's good for you to have it. Sadly, sometimes insensitives, that's how you say it? I can say it over that time. But having something fun, maybe a good activity with the program or teaching the AI style for the students can make students feel engaged, as well as just group work. Sometimes students may not like group work, but depending on what it is, it will make them feel more active, and as well as your attitude. I say this in the aspects of I take physics. I'm in physics 2 right now. I'm not a math person. I don't like math, but it's to take that aspect of I don't like math. My professor made me like math. I like physics now because of his attitude. 9:30 in the morning, he's happy, he's smiling, he's going, he's showing off everything. Like, isn't this beautiful? Don't you like this? You like this. I feel that that's the attitude you should have as a professor for students sometimes, because you can see their sad, droopy faces of we don't want to be here. But it's a thing of, oh my God, look how cool you could do this. Look at what this does. Like, oh, wow. Again, it goes back with the, okay, I get we're adults, yes, but we want to have a little funness. Some of us haven't gotten that fun in high school. You know, we got through dreadedness of high school. We felt like it's a jail. We're tired. Coming into college, if you have a fun professor, you're going to have a good time in the class. And that's going to make your work easier as a professor. Now you don't have to deal with a student who doesn't like something or who's complaining about something. You have now a positive aspect of something that would have been negative.
Are we closing? Yes. So we close with that human note. So it's about passion and curiosity. Good. So we are going to be here as humans. Yes. And we will find a way. So thank you. Thank you, Karla. Thank you, Nicolas. Thank you.
And thank you, Professor Nunez Rodriguez. Thank you, Nelson, so much for moderating the panel. We
And thank you everyone for having me. Y'all have a great week. Y'all guys were great. I hope you guys have a great weekend.
I think we're going to move on to another panel now.